What is going on? Pete Moriarty here. Thank you for joining our latest live stream. This is an open Q&A session for Google Workspace. So if you are here, I'd love to hear from you. Say hello on the live stream. Let me know where you're watching from, where you're listening from. And if you are new to the channel, welcome. If you want to learn more about Google Workspace, if you want to learn more about small business technology, helping you and your team be more productive, get the most out of the ecosystem that you have invested in, well, that's what this channel is all about. Now, you can ask a question live if you like. Just drop it straight into the ask.itgenius.com live question section, and I'll do my best to answer that on the call. Or you can drop me a comment as well. Say hello. I'm going to be here for as long as I have energy and as long as you have questions. So if you're not familiar with what we do, we're a small business technology consultancy. We help businesses all over the world in 15 plus countries, in fact, with Google Workspace and with small business technology. So if you're looking to get Google Workspace working well, if you're looking to do a migration, maybe your data is sitting inside Microsoft right now and you want to move it over to Google, maybe you've got all of your files sitting in Dropbox and you want to switch them over to Google Drive, maybe you want to get started with a CRM system or set up some automations between different apps so that your team aren't manually re-entering data one by one. They're all the kind of things that my team can cover for you and can help you to get done. We are a technology concierge service, and to get access to that, all you need to do is head along to itgenius.com. You can get access to our concierge service there, sign up, and it's basically all you can eat IT support for you and your team, which is pretty cool. Now, if you need something small and immediately done, you can take advantage of our quick fix service. So if you're not yet ready for concierge and committing to working with us over time and transforming the business, if you just need one thing fixed right now and it's nice and simple, and you just want some help from an IT expert, well, you can go and purchase a quick fix, a couple of $100, and we can fix all kinds of things to do with Google Workspace and small business technology. And Aussie dollars for a couple of $100, pretty easy to get your hands on that. So go ahead and check that out if you need some help with your tech. So I'll say hello to those who are on the stream. Saber25, welcome. Hello from Florida, US. Awesome. Must be getting into your late evening there, I'm assuming. I'm back nearly on Sydney time. I'm traveling around Australia at the moment in a camper truck, which is good fun. But I've been in all kinds of weird time zones, and it must be evening there because you're East Coast, or maybe it's early in the morning. I'm not sure exactly on that conversion. I'm not great with time conversions, but I should be. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and jump into the questions. You can ask a question at ask.itgenius.com. Ask.itgenius.com. Pop in your question. I'm going to see the most recent questions filter up to the top, and I've got lots of questions to get through. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into our first one now. Anonymous asks, I'm a physician in the US and planning to start my own practice. My philosophy of care is patient-centered, and I would like to promote my patients and staff a seamless integrated tech experience. Ha! Wouldn't we all? I'm debating between the Apple ecosystem versus Google and would like to have a chat and a possible consult. Well, lucky you, Anonymous. I'm going to give you a free consult here, and you don't even have to jump on a call. But we will have some live customer calls happening on the channel sometime soon in the future. So watch out for those. So if you're choosing between different ecosystems for your business setup, considering Google, obviously something that we're going to recommend. Microsoft is the other ecosystem that people typically will go with, given that a lot of legacy applications, workflows, and a lot of staff are just used to using Microsoft. And so thinking Outlook, Outlook, Word, Excel, nearly said Google Docs there, and all of your Microsoft applications, which people may be familiar with if they've worked in corporate or they've worked in other businesses over time. Now, Google is its own ecosystem. And by ecosystem, I mean files, cloud storage, email communication, chat apps, and then collaboration features, right? Collaborative document formats, the ability to do meetings online as well. Now, Microsoft and Google are the two main ecosystems that people will work with, but you also have the option of Apple as well. So Apple, while they're not really known for a business ecosystem, they're more known as a consumer ecosystem. Things like iCloud, which will synchronize your contacts between your different devices. Things like, you can get an Apple email address, and that'll be available across all your devices. That's less so a ecosystem that you would use for your business productivity tools or your business productivity software. But there's no hurt in buying Apple hardware for your business. In fact, I recommend considering Apple hardware for your business. Now, this person has asked about the Apple ecosystem versus the Google ecosystem, and their goal here is to have a seamless, integrated tech experience. My suggestion is the best way to get a seamless tech experience, or what you're most likely going to be aiming for with a seamless tech experience, is going to come down to the software that you're using for the business. Now, most software operates in the browser these days, so you're working with cloud-based, browser-based booking services, cloud-based, browser-based accounting services, cloud-based staff rostering and management systems, probably even a client booking system that's online that customers can potentially even book themselves. So that experience isn't really going to matter whether you're using a Mac or a PC or a Google Chrome device like a Chromebook or a Chromebox to access them, because you're probably just going to be using the Chrome browser. And funnily enough, no matter what operating system you're using, you're probably still going to be using the same browser. So in terms of the experience of your staff and the experience of your customers, the operating system that you choose doesn't really matter. The ecosystem that you choose for your workflow productivity tools does matter. In my humble opinion, using Google is going to be far superior to Microsoft because it's better with collaboration. It's cloud first, so there's no apps to install or to manage. It is better with cross-platform compatibility. So if you do have a mix of devices, Google tends to work better across different platforms because it's more consistent, being that most of it just exists in the browser. But there is still an important question here, and the important question is, well, what do you then do with the hardware? Now, if you imagine like a medical or allied health practitioner's clinic, no matter what kind of services that's being delivered to your customers, if you want something that's seamless, I'm imagining a clinic would fit in with the the brand ethos of Apple, being refined and a little bit luxury, and iMacs always look really nice in a foyer reception area, right? It's a good look if you've got an allied health. Like if you're a dentist and you're cleaning someone's teeth, having a nice clean Apple computer in the reception area, it matches the brand presence, right? It makes sense. So in that case, you may choose to pay the price premium for an Apple machine. They're very, very reliable machines. They're very unlikely to be impacted by malware or spyware or viruses. So they're very robust. For brand reasons, you may choose to go with that. But there is an alternative, which is obviously to consider the Google ecosystem of devices. And that would be maybe an Android tablet, but most likely what we're talking about here is a Chromebook or a Chromebox. And so these are running Chrome OS, which is different to Mac and different to Windows. It is its own operating system based around the Chrome browser. Now, it's a very basic operating system. You can't do all the things that you can do on a Mac, and you can't do all the things that you can do on a Windows PC. But if all of your apps are in the cloud and all of your business delivery happens on cloud-based or browser-based applications, Chrome device, perfect for this application. Particularly if you're using the Google Workspace ecosystem, that means that you basically get access to all of Google's tools fully integrated into your device as well. So you can set policies in Google Workspace and have them land on your device, like a Chromebook or a Chromebox. You want to change the background picture? Sure, that's a basic one. Maybe something like if you want to have a standard set of bookmarks rolled off across everyone's browser. Maybe you want to set, if a computer is in a public space, how often people, how long people can use it until it automatically signs itself out. So these are all options available for you if you go with Chrome OS. And I've got a number of other videos on our channel specifically on Chrome OS, so go ahead and search for that. But if you're a business owner and you're choosing between Chrome and Mac, I'm going to say it's probably not going to be that different in terms of reliability or experience. The main difference it's going to come down to is cost. And my personal preference is wherever possible to use Chrome OS because it is simple. The IT management and maintenance is nearly zero. They are very reliable machines, and they're deeply integrated into the Google ecosystem. So if you haven't already given a Chromebook a go, it's a good idea to watch some of the other videos on our channel and test it out if you are in the Google Workspace ecosystem, because you'll probably find it's a great device for your business. Great question there. I like that. I'm going to move on to our next question. And oh yeah, so Saber 25, midnight. That's commitment. Thanks for joining. You can watch the repeats on these. We do leave them published on the channel, but it's always nice to have people live. Okay, so our next question. Anonymous asks, I'm using my domain on a legacy free G Suite and it works for me. I have another domain, that's their domain there, hosted on GoDaddy, but I want to use it on G Suite as a secondary domain, presumably in the legacy free G Suite account. Can I use one Google Calendar for both domains to receive and send calendar invites from respective domains? Okay, this is an interesting question because there's a couple of bits to answer this, and to answer it properly, we're going to have to get a little bit technical, but that's okay. So many, many years ago, and I'm talking more than a decade ago, Google Workspace used to be free, and it was free for the first 50 users. I think some accounts 15 years ago got like 500 users, but it was free for the first 50 users, and they let you set up your own domain name. Now, they are called legacy Workspace accounts, and there's not many of them left because Google basically didn't add any new features to that for many, 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 many years. They even threatened to take them away, but there was an uprising, and Google have left these free accounts stay there out in the wild. However, there's not much that you can do with them if you want to, say, change your primary domain name or add additional storage to the account or get access to support. These accounts are a bit of an island. So in general, I recommend, if you're running a business, avoiding these accounts. Bite the bullet, pay for a paid license. I know it's been free for a long time, and free is always wonderful. But if you can't get access to support, if something goes wrong, you still may not get access to support, even if you upgrade it to a paid account afterwards. There's some intricacies and technicalities there. But most of all, you're missing out on good features if you've not yet upgraded. If you haven't yet switched over to a Google Workspace plan that allows you to, for example, record your meetings in Google Meet, well, you're missing out on one of the best features. If you're not using shared drives, then you're missing out on one of the best features of Google Workspace. So my first recommendation is to upgrade. Now, if you have a legacy account right now, and in this person's case, they want to set up an additional domain name as a secondary domain, I think you can add additional domain names to a legacy account. I haven't done it in about a decade, but I think you can still add an additional domain name. What you can't do is you can't change the primary domain name of the account, which may be a blocker for some people. And that's part of the reason why some of our customers decided to get rid of their legacy account and switch to a full paid account. You can't change the primary domain. I believe you can add a secondary domain though. Now, if you do add a secondary domain to a Workspace account, irrespective of if it's a legacy account or if it's a new account, you do have some limitations with that. And that is that if you want to run Google Calendar on multiple different Google Workspace accounts, well, if you've got a single mailbox with a single primary email address, you can only ever send calendar invitations from that primary email address. So one mailbox has one primary email. You might have other aliases that come to that mailbox, but unfortunately, your calendar invitations only ever go out from that single email address. I think there's probably one that's a good idea for me to draw it just to show you what that looks like. So I'm testing out my new whiteboard here in Canva. Hopefully this one works. I'm going to hit the draw button with my iPad here, and let's go ahead and draw a mailbox. Oh, and lucky me, I've even got our brand colors set up, which is wonderful. Okay, cool. So let's draw my mailbox here, and I'm going to say that's Peter actually, and let's say this email address is peter@itgenius.com. So that's my primary email address. Now, if I choose to set up an alias, let's say I want it to be like, info. Oops, let's try. Let's say I want to set up info@itg. That will also arrive in my mailbox. We usually call mailboxes buckets of email. Let me try and bring that back there. There we go. Okay, cool. So we call this one bucket of email. And basically, you pay Google your per monthly fee per bucket of email, right? So an alias domain or an add-on domain with an alias configured for an individual user will still deliver mail to that mailbox. So my Peter at mail is being delivered there, and my other mail is also being delivered there from the info at account as well. When I send email out, I can send from an alias as well as sending from my primary domain. I just set those up in my Gmail settings. So I go to Gmail, I go to my account settings, I go to send mail as, and I authorize or set up additional email addresses to send mail as. And then when I go to compose an email inside my Gmail, I can choose between multiple mailboxes. Now, let me show you what that looks like. Let's go ahead and open up my Gmail. And I'll show you what it looks like to send from a secondary address. All right, so I'll hit the C for compose. And I have a drop down here where I can choose to send from multiple different email addresses that I've registered as sending addresses. But there is one large limitation here. And that large limitation is that I cannot send calendar invitations from anything outside of my primary email address. So the primary email address on my mailbox is the only one that I can actually send emails from if I'm sending a calendar invitation. That's a limitation. Now, if I wanted to do that differently, let's say I really wanted to send a calendar invitation from a secondary domain or from a secondary address. Well, in that case, I could set up another mailbox. And I'll set up another mailbox over here. And maybe this time, oops, I'm still getting used to Canva. Oh, geez. Keep deleting my mailbox. There it is. So maybe this time I set up a secondary mailbox for info at. And with that secondary mailbox, I then choose, okay, I am going to send and receive my calendar invitations from this mailbox, and I'll share my calendar back to Peter. So the primary calendar of that secondary mailbox will be shared back to my personal mailbox, and that means that I'm able to send an event from that calendar outside of my main mailbox. Now, I've got to pay twice for this because I have to pay for this mailbox and I have to pay for this mailbox, but the system does work if you have multiple domains and you want to be able to send email invitations from multiple different calendar email addresses. The only challenge is now you've got two calendars to manage, and that might be an issue. Okay, so great question. Great question. Love that one. That's a good one. That's a good one. I love all these technical questions that we get on the channel. All right. Anonymous asks, I cannot see a shared drive option in my Google Drive. And that's a great question. If right now you're stuck and you cannot see shared drives in your Google Drive, it might be missing. There might be something broken. I'm going to walk you through some places that you can check to make sure that you get access to shared drives. Now, what is shared drives? Well, it was released by Google a number of years ago, and it's a better way of sharing inside your Google Drive. Most people, when they share files inside Google Drive, is they will share files one-on-one individually, or they'll create a folder inside their My Drive, and they will start sharing folders from their My Drive. But that has a fatal flaw for business owners. And that flaw is that if you share a folder from your My Drive and someone goes to place a file in that folder, you can collaborate on that file and you can edit that file because they've shared it with your folder. But you are not the owner of that file. The original person who created a file remains the owner of a file. And when you're sharing in your inbox, in My Drive, well, they may be owned by other people. Now, the risk for this for business owners is if you own a folder, but you don't own the files within that folder, anyone else can go ahead and delete those files if they're the owners. And that might be a contractor who's outside your business. It might be an employee that's gone rogue or is cleaning up their Google Drive and accidentally deletes the wrong things. And now that Google's trash disappears after 30 days of a file being deleted, well, you may find that you have files that disappear for good, and nobody wants data loss in their business. So what's the solution? Well, Google have created shared drives. And shared drives fix all of the most frustrating problems with sharing outside of your My Drive folder. Shared drives allow you to set strict permissions, either for individual staff or even groups of staff that allow them to that allow them to share or not be allowed to share specific files and specific folders within those shared drives. You can lock down certain permissions and say, for example, if I want someone to be able to place files into the folder, but not ever delete files from the folder, well, you can designate that with the contributor role. And this is really useful for if you're working with contractors who maybe have a Gmail address outside your business that you don't control, or staff members that are working with highly sensitive files that you don't want to risk accidentally getting deleted or lost. Shared Drive has lots of different options where you can even lock down a shared drive so it's only available for internal use within your company, and none of the files within there can ever be shared outside of your business. These are all available inside your Google Drive if you're on a business standard plan or above for Google Workspace. If you're on a basic starter plan, well, you're not going to get access to this feature. And so in my mind, it is absolutely mandatory for business owners to consider using shared drives instead of just sharing with My Drive. So let's go ahead and have a look at what that actually looks like in a practical application. So I'm in my Google Drive here, and you'll see that I've got a little bit of noise happening beside me. I'm in my Google Drive here, and you can see that I've got my Drive and I've got my shared drives. And if you don't see shared drives right now, you might be on the wrong plan, or you might be using a Gmail address. And so if you are in a consumer personal Gmail account and you are not paying for Google Workspace currently, well, it's very possible that you just don't have access to any shared drives because no one's shared a shared drive with you yet. Shared drives are a feature of a Google Workspace business plan, and so you can only create a shared drive if you're on a standard business plan or above. And so you need to make sure you got access to that. Now, if you are on a business plan and you still can't see it, well, maybe shared drives are switched off for your organization. To check that, we'll go into our admin console. And the easiest way to find the setting is to just search for shared drive. And you can look for this permission here, which is called shared drive creation. So if you choose, you can switch on or switch off shared drive creation. Where is the shared drive creation option? Here we go. Okay. So prevent users in IT Genius from creating new shared drives. So once that's ticked, it basically stops people from being able to create fresh shared drives. If you don't want that, then you can go ahead and select that, stop people from creating new drives. Okay, so once we've checked that, let's have a look at shared drive. Once you've got access to shared drives, let's have a look at how they work. In my shared drives here, you'll see that I've created many shared drives for different areas of the business. So IT Genius has a number of different areas of business, and we have a shared drive for each of them. I'm also a member of other shared drives that are owned by external companies. And so you can see here that when I have access to an external drive, well, I can see that files are owned by a different company or different organization, meaning a different Google Workspace account. Now, if you're a small business, you may choose to create a shared drive for each different department or each different area of your business. I would say probably only bother with that if you have more than 15 people in your business. If you're a micro business and you've got less than 15 people in the company in total, my recommendation would be that you just have 3 or 4 shared drives. And my typical recommendations are to go with number 1, a drive for executives, shareholders, and directors. Number 2, a drive just for management or maybe just for accounts and finance. Number 3, a drive for everybody in the business, so all of your general files that the whole team need to access. And number 4, a shared drive just for contractors or people outside your business with additional security enabled. Speaking of security, let's have a look at the options that we've got for sharing a shared drive. I'll go and have a look at my Attract folder here, which is our marketing team. And you can see here with our membership management, we share membership with different groups of staff rather than individual staff. So this is all set up in our admin panel under user groups, and we can add user groups to our shared drives for stricter permissions here. It means that when I'm onboarding a staff member, I don't have to worry about adding somebody individually to all the right shared drives that their department needs access to. I just add them once to the admin panel, I add them to the right group, and hey presto, they get access to everything that group has been shared. So I can see everything that I need to see. Great, okay. So you can see here there's different roles that we can assign to different groups of people, whether they're a manager, which lets them control everything. A content manager can let them move things around and also delete things, but not change any users. A contributor is someone who can add files, but not delete them. Great for your contractors or anyone outside the business. And commenter and viewer roles, well, they're pretty self-explanatory. Now, not only do you have these sharing settings, but you also have the configuration settings for shared drive. And not everyone knows that these exist. If you right-click on a shared drive and click onto shared drive settings, you'll see there's some additional features that you can set. There's some additional features that you can set, and they allow you to dictate what happens across the whole of that shared drive. You'll see here that with one tick box, I can untick and choose that nobody outside my company can access any of the files inside that shared drive. I might choose whether or not I want to allow someone who has access to the shared drive to share individual folders outside of the company as well. Great options there to continue to lock down access to files and make sure that your business is secured. Now, if you'd like some help working out what the best security permissions are for your business or working with shared drives to set them up correctly, we have a service called the Google Drive Blueprint. And that's available for our concierge members, and you can purchase that via our website. Now, the Google Drive Blueprint is your way of getting access to our team's hand-holding support in setting up shared drives, group-based permissions, and migrating data into a shared drive format so that you can get everything nice and tidy and all of your permissions correct so your business data doesn't accidentally disappear or become lost during a data loss event. If you're interested in that, you can click on the link down below this video, have a chat to our team, and let them know you're interested in the Google Drive Blueprint. Cool, great question. Love that one. That's a good one. Always love jumping into Drive and permissions. I cover that all the time. Okay, I'm going to grab a quick drink here. It's probably a good idea. Disappear from my virtual set for a moment. All right. Here's a question from Anonymous. My email with our own domain name is hosted on Bluehost. I want to change that to Google as Bluehost is mostly unreliable. Well, I'm not surprised if you happen to be using an email provider that is outside of the Google or the Microsoft ecosystem, that from time to time you will have problems. That's just the way that email goes, and to be honest, most of the world has moved on from using their web host for emails, and they're now using more sophisticated email software and productivity ecosystems. Google is one of those, Microsoft is one of those, and there's a couple of others as well. Zoho exists, and I think Salesforce are trying to do their own thing too. But for the moment, my recommendation is to either choose Google Workspace or Microsoft 365 and go with that for your email. Now, if you're like this person and you want to make the switch over to Google Workspace, you've got two options. Option number one is you go for a fresh start. You set up Google Workspace, you configure it, and we've got guides on our channel on how to get started with Google Workspace and set it up for your business and set it up for your domain name. If you don't need to worry about bringing over any of your historical data, then you can just set it up, change your DNS settings to get your email flowing from your old host over to Google. So any new emails start arriving at Google from now forward. And your previous emails will either live on your computer, presumably where you've downloaded them, or maybe with your existing web host. Now, option number 2 is for you to do a data migration. And a data migration is where you take all of your historical data and you move that across into the Google ecosystem. The advantage of doing this is that you're able to search through all of your historical data from within your Gmail account. If you've got folders where all of your emails are sorted into specific areas and you are the kind of person who likes to keep things neat and tidy so you can rely on previous emails or messages from clients or customers, well, you want to bring those emails and folders across, and a data migration will help you to do that. If you want to completely cancel your old hosting, and that is inevitably going to delete all of the files and folders and emails that are there, well, you definitely need to do a migration. I'll say that again. You need to do a migration. What that means is that you bring all of that legacy history into your Google account, and then you can safely delete your old hosting account with all of the stuff that's gone. Now, how do you get a migration done? Well, I've got other videos on the channel on planning and getting your migration executed, but effectively you're going cloud to cloud with your email, or sometimes your computer to the cloud, and you're bringing all of your history into Google's ecosystem. There's a number of different tools to make that happen, from a Outlook connection tool if you're on Microsoft Outlook, to cloud services that will help you migrate data from wherever your emails are right now across and into the Google ecosystem. If you'd like some help getting a migration done, well, that's our core business at IT Genius, and we've helped literally thousands of business owners all over the world migrate data between Dropbox and Google Drive and between all kinds of different email systems into Gmail, so that you've got all your history available, backed up, safe and secured in your fresh Google account. My strong recommendation, if you're moving cloud to cloud, is that you have someone help you to do it. Unless you have a free weekend to read instruction manuals, make mistakes, and learn how to get it done yourself, my recommendation would be to take advantage of our very affordable services to help you with your data migration. And if you'd like some free advice and a free quote without any hard sell, have a chat to our consulting team by clicking on the link down below, and they'll be happy to help you scope out your migration plan and decide how to move forward from there. Okay, wonderful question. If you have anything other than Google or Microsoft for your email, it's time to dump it. Cool. Thomas has asked, is this recorded? Yes. Well, we stream these live to the channel and we don't delete the streams. So you can watch any of our previous streams anytime you like. And we actually take most of these answers and we chop them up into shorter segments, and then we publish them on the channel. So each one of these will be bit by bit released to the channel over time. But if you'd like to ask me a question live, by the way, Thomas, I don't know if you can see the chat there. I might try and drop the chat in one more time. You can drop a question into the live questions if you like, and I'll happily answer your question for you live. All right, cool. Well, let's jump in. Oh, we got a question from Thomas. You've already put one in. What a legend. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and cover your question. So I have a business where I need to have some email inbox set up. First is sales at, where the clients will email, and then our staff should be able to see it and collaborate with email. Second email is info to oversee what's coming into sales, and they should be able to reply from the staff reply. Excellent. Okay, so Thomas, what that is called is shared mailboxes, or another word for it is mailbox delegation. And normally, I would answer your question, but I've got about 10 videos on this exact topic on the channel. So I would just be repeating myself, and I've covered this in so many different ways and so many different angles. So my recommendation for you is go to the channel, search for shared mailbox, and you'll see here that there are a number of different ways to share mailboxes. So go ahead and watch those videos. If you still have questions, then send our team a question, and we'll be very happy to answer that for you. I've lost my questions here, but great question, and there's lots of ways to tackle that. Cool. All right. Mick0i asks, do you think there is a possibility that Google will allow or enable offline access to shared drives? Hope to hear from you soon. So Google does actually allow you to get access to shared drives offline. But I'm unsure if you're trying to access it from the browser or if you're trying to access it maybe from your desktop computer. When you're working on a desktop computer, you do need to enable offline access to files, and you can access files in a shared drive offline once you've enabled that. I'll take you through the process of how to do that. just to make sure you've followed the process correctly. So the first thing that you want to do is go into your Google Drive and enable offline files. So I'm going to go to my Google Drive, I go to my settings, and from my settings, I've got the option to switch on offline mode. Now, if you don't see this, it's possible that offline mode has been disabled in your admin panel. And so in that case, we would have to go to the admin panel and go and actually switch on offline files in the admin panel. So to do that, we go to admin.google.com, and the easiest way to find what you need is to search. So if I search for the word offline, I can open the Google Drive settings here and set my Google Drive settings for offline access. You can see it's actually the number 1 option in my Google Drive settings. All right, switch on offline access. Once that's switched on, wait 5 or 10 minutes, and you should be able to see the option to switch on offline mode on your Google Drive on the web. Now, all that does here is enables offline files to be accessed from the browser, and this just counts for Google format documents. It's going to be your spreadsheets, your Google Docs, your Google presentations. It's not necessarily going to be all of your other files sitting in Google Drive, like your PDFs, your video files, MP3s, images. They're not going to be available offline here. But if I go into my shared drives and let's say, for example, I open up my marketing drive here, I will be able to access files here in the marketing drive that are in Google format once I've enabled offline mode. If you have any problems with that, you can always reach out to our consulting team by clicking the link down below, and our tech support team will be happy to have a look at your individual section. But what do we do for our other files, right? Like if we've got other files inside Google and we want to access them offline, if they're not in Google format, well, how do we then access them? Well, we do that using the Google Drive app for your computer. So again, if you go into Google Drive on the web and you click on the settings wheel in the top right hand corner, you can choose this button here, Get Drive for Desktop. And that will allow you to download and install the Google Drive app for your computer. Now, once you install that Google Drive app on your computer, what you are going to see is your Google Drive listed here, and you'll be able to access both your My Drive and your shared drive from your local computer. Now, if I were to go to a file inside my shared drive, as an example, I'll go back here to my marketing team folder. I can right click on a file. You can see I've got a PDF file here, and I can choose to make that file available offline. And that's how I access my non-Google files offline from my computer, even if they're in a shared drive. So if right now you can't access your files offline, I'm assuming it's going to be one of those settings that you need to tweak. If you're still stuck, let us know in the comments down below this video, and I'll be happy to help you out as much as we can. Otherwise, if you want some help with your machine, you can always purchase a quick fix from our team. You don't need to sign up as a concierge customer. If you just need one thing fixed right now, click on the link down below this video, head to our website and purchase a quick fix to get access to instant IT support from our professional services team. They are literally on live chat, waiting and ready to go if you are during business hours for Australia or the US. Pretty impressive. Okay, so let's move on to our next question. Next question. What do we got here? So many good questions today. Okay, cool. All right, so Saber25 on the live stream asking, when it comes to shared drives, how would you recommend pushing your end users to utilize it more? Part carrot, part stick. That's all I have to say about that. Unfortunately, there is no policy that we can enable within Google Workspace to stop people using their My Drive. I wish there was. I've been waiting for that for years. User education and policy enforcement is an ongoing challenge. And we pretty much have to, I don't want to say, but I have to, like, we've got to beat it into our team when they start working for us that you must use shared drives. I will flat out reject working with or opening a document if someone has shared it to me via URL and it's not in a shared drive, or if they just share the link and I have to request access to it. No, just doesn't work. So we just try and push that as hard as possible culturally in the business that you must use shared drives for everything. As a follow-up question, this person is asking, how can I help my user? How can I help them stop losing files when they leave the company? That happens quite a bit. Well, that one's a little bit easier to fix. See, when you have someone leave the company, usually what happens is people will just delete their Google account, and then the files that that person owned are deleted. But when you go to delete a user account inside your Workspace account, you can actually choose to transfer the ownership of those documents. And I'll show you, where are my users here? Let me show you in my admin panel how to do that. I've got a couple of videos on this on the channel. They're a bit more tidy from start to finish on how to do it. And so I'll show you where to find them. But just to show you the exact button right now, if I go to a user account and I decide to delete a user account, it's going to say, hey, do you want to migrate this person's data? And do you want to transfer their Google Drive data? So I would choose, okay, I'm going to transfer it to another user. And that way, none of their files get deleted or disappeared when that person disappears. Now, there's a lot of nuance to that, and we have a user archiving service that we do. You would have seen there that Google offers you the option to pay per month to keep an archived user. I want to see how much it is these days. You can just pay. There we go, $7 Australian per month. What's that? $4 US, or maybe it's $3.50 US. To be able to just keep a user's data, but that's dumb because you can migrate their data and then blow away the user. You can get rid of the user. So go to the channel, and if you search for offboarding, you're going to find a bunch of emails there on how to offboard. Here we go: deleting old user accounts, offboarding, safely deleting G Suite users. Go and watch those videos, and you'll see I've got some instructions on how to do that, including where to migrate their email to, because I don't recommend migrating it to your own personal account. I recommend migrating it to a specialized archive account. So you set up one account, you call it archive, and that's just the dumping ground for all the users that you delete. Anyway, go watch those other videos. I've got it laid out step by step for you to check that out. But yeah, that's a really common challenge, but really easy to sort it out. Hello from Colorado, Ali, our #1 fan. Thanks for joining us, Callie. Ali, sorry. LEC. Always great to see you here. Okay, cool. We're going to go back to our next question. Cool. Anonymous asks, is it possible to see groups email one pool like Microsoft 365 shared mailbox? Yes. We already covered that. Head to our channel and search for shared mailbox. Oops. Shared mailbox, and yeah, lots of videos on that. Can you create documents or app scripts on free Google Workspace admin account? Ooh, that's a good question. Short answer is no. Short answer is no. If you've got and what this person is referring to, my poor editors, we're not going to be able to get a video out of this. Short answer is no. That's the end of the video. This person is referring to setting up a free admin account. So if you're interested in that, you can search the channel for free admin, because I've got a few videos on that. And what this is for is if you have a Workspace account and you have, let's say, more than 10 people in your business, you probably should start taking cybersecurity a little bit more seriously than the blasé approach that most small business owners take. And that means that ideally you want to have a separate super administrator that is not you. Because if you're the business owner, you're a target, people can get into your account, they can pretend to be you and call Google, they can steal your mobile phone SIM card, get your two-factor authentication token, and get into your account. There's lots of different ways that people can find their ways in. The thing is that a separate Google admin account will protect you from like 99% of those. It's a bit more of a pain that every time you want to change admin settings, you've got to go and sign into a different account, but it is best practice. So what you can do using a feature called Google Identity Service is, or it's technically Google Cloud Identity. What you can do is you can create an admin user which doesn't have a mailbox, and so you don't have to pay for the account. Very cool. So you switch on Google Cloud Identity, and I've got guides on how to do that here on the channel. And then you get a free, you can create as many accounts as you want. And so if you need to use, for example, like a single sign-on, and you want to grant users access to an app, but they don't need a mailbox, you don't have to pay. Now, this person has asked, can this person create documents? No, because they don't have access to Google Drive. They only have the ability to log in and access the admin panel. Can they create app scripts? I don't know, because I'm pretty sure app scripts are hosted outside of Workspace at apps. I think it's appscript.google.com. Here we go. Oh, look at that! It's got the old branding. They haven't changed that in about a decade. Material design. Once I sign in, cool. So I would say it's quite possible you could host scripts here without having a Workspace account. I don't think you need a bucket of email and Google Drive access for this. But hey, look, there's add-ons here, right? If you want to connect it to files sitting in Google Drive, then that might not work. Anyway, but good question there. That's a very technical, very specific question. All right. Anonymous asks, I need a drink of water before I keep going. It is very warm here today. So I'm in the north of Australia, and it's about 33 degrees Celsius at the moment. And thank you to Starlink, I'm able to present on the road, which is pretty darn impressive. Okay, so our next question. Is there a way I can reply to the emails that go to my group with the group's email address so that my own email address is not seen? That is an excellent question. I haven't done this in a long time, but I'm pretty sure there is a way if you go to the groups service. So let's see if we can work it out together. So I have a group that I'm a part of, which is for customer feedback. The emails that go to feedback go to me and the CEO, Scott. So I'm going to see if I can go and find that group. I haven't logged into this service for so long. Okay, let's see if I can find it. There we go. Now, I've got to be careful I don't show anything. Okay, so this is going to have some names in it. I've just got to hide you from the names, guys. Okay, cool. So this is a spam email, so I don't mind exposing them to the internet. Okay, cool. So this is a Google group. I'm accessing it via the groups service. Normally, this email would just come to my inbox. The email comes in my inbox. It says, hey, this came from the group service, but I can reply from my inbox, and it replies using my email address. But when I access it from the groups service here, I should be able to, I haven't used this in 10 years, I should be able to click reply. Okay, so right now it's coming from Peter. I wonder if I can change the settings and reply from, maybe it's in the group settings even actually, and reply from the group email address. Okay, cool. So if I switch on collaborative inbox here, I think this is gonna, no, ta-da, that's the one. Okay, I'm not gonna bother with collaborative inbox. Here we go. Here's the setting. Default address used in the byline for messages to the group is group address. So I think that's going to let me reply. Oh, save changes. Okay, so let's go back to the message that I was in. Reply to author. No, it's still not replying. Okay, maybe we have to switch on collaborative inbox. Okay, so reply to author. It's still coming from me. I'm sure there's a setting here somewhere. I'm sure there is a setting here somewhere. All right. Well, maybe someone can help me in the comments. I haven't touched Collaborative Inbox in a long time. I know there is. I know there is a way. Ah, ta-da! Okay, I found it. I found it. Okay. So you need to hit the reply all button. Reply all, and then I can choose from the drop down which one I send from. That's going to go back to the thread, and it's going to go out to the person as well. So, so there you go. That's how you get it to work. You go to the groups service and send from the groups service rather than from your email. But if you do want to send from your email, you could send the group's email address, in this case, feedback@itgenius.com. You could set that as an outgoing email address for your mailbox. And if you've got that as an outgoing email address for your mailbox, well, what that lets you do is actually send on behalf of that email address. So it looks like it's coming from this groups-based email address. I don't know if that's going to mess up the order of messages or whatever, but anyway, there's some ideas. There's some ideas. They may work. I can't say for sure, but they may work. Okay, let's move on to our next question. Anonymous asks, I really want to know how to assign user alias domain to just an OU. Ooh, I don't think that's possible. Sorry, Anonymous. When you set up a alias domain, so that is like I've got I've got itgenius.com for my company in Workspace, but then I want to add like itgenius.co.uk, and I say, right, anyone who's got a .com, I want .co.uk to work for them as well. I just set it up as an alias, boom, whole account gets it. If I only want it to be applied to certain staff, there's no way I can apply it to a group of staff in one hit. I can only add it as an add-on domain and then apply it to staff one by one. That's it. You either get all or you get one by one. You can't apply an alias just to a handful of people or to a group. That's a bit of a bummer, but it is what it is. Okay. Yes, remember to tap the thumbs up, guys. Thank you. It helps the channel. We're slowly starting to earn from the channel. That's not really our aim here. Our aim is to obviously grow our consulting business, but we do earn a little bit of money from YouTube. So if you give us a thumbs up and it gets out there to more people, it's helpful for us because it helps me to hire editors and production staff and writers and everyone else that helps to make the channel happen. And we spend about $500,000 a year getting this channel running, and I think we get about, I don't know, 30 or 40,000 from Google. So we don't get much on ads. Obviously we're generating leads, so that works for us. But we would love your support. If you think this channel is useful, please share it with a business owner. That's the best way that you can say thank you, even if you're not a customer of ours. Okay, let's go to our next question. I want to do the opposite. I've closed my small business and no longer need the Workspace option. Can I convert my Workspace account to a personal account? I really need to keep my current Gmail address for obvious reasons. No. Well, I mean, you can cancel the account and you can migrate it all back to like GoDaddy or some other email service, but why would you want to? That'd be like, I can't afford this car anymore, so I'm going to go back to riding my horse. Like, walking's better. The reason is old email technology like IMAP is fundamentally not very secure. It's not encrypted. Gmail's technically not encrypted, but there's a lot better spam filtering and a lot better security features with Google just overall. And my strong recommendation is if you're like shutting down a business, but you need to retain data as legacy data, or you need to retain just one email address, just pay for one mailbox. Like we're talking about $15 a month here, pay for one mailbox. If you've got 10 staff and you need to consolidate it, great. Work with our team, do the offboarding process, search our channel for the offboarding process, just consolidate them all down into one user account, then just pay for one user account. No matter what situation you're in your life, you can afford to pay $150 a year for one license just to keep your account and your data safe if you need it. If you don't give a shit, hey, delete it. But my strong recommendation would be just keep one account going. Otherwise, yeah, I wouldn't want to go back to old email. It's just terribly insecure, and accounts get hacked all the time, and it's devoid of any useful features apart from literally downloading email to your device. And then you got to download email to your device. You can't even search because you get 100 emails a day and your search gets clogged up and then it doesn't work anymore. So don't do that. Stick with your Workspace account or something. Okay, can I share some helpful Asana automations? Oh boy. I think we're going to do that in an upcoming live training. Fuck it, I'll show you one now. All right. I'll show you one now. This is our production board, or one of our production boards. This is called our Create board, and we like using Kanban boards in our business. So this is how we take ideas from raw idea right through to completion. Now you can see a lot of these columns are empty right now because I've got a filter set, so it only shows me my tasks. I'll remove that filter, and you should see some more tasks populating here. Seems to be running slowly. Ah, there we go. I was wondering where they all were. There's a lot here. Okay, cool. So you can see here as we go through each stage. Now the thing is, as our tasks pop into the different stages of production, there's these little rules here that get triggered as they sit through different stages. So for example, when a feature gets to this stage, Riley copy review, Riley's our head strategist for YouTube, a couple of rules run. So assign task, I assume that's going to assign the task to Riley. Yes, it is. And it's going to remove me as a collaborator, because basically if I've given it to Riley, then I don't want to get updates. I just want to get updates once he puts it in, my bucket, right? So there's that rule there. And then what is the other rule? Set the status. Oh, cool. Okay. So we set a custom field to be in the option of development. So, we might be working on 20, 30, 50 videos at a time. We've got a big long list of videos. We can see what's in development, what's recorded, what's being published, what's being edited, blah, 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 through all the different stages there. So there's some basic automations that we set. And basically, with a Kanban board, it makes it really easy for each person to do their job, because they just have to load up. If you want, you can do that groovy little filter to show just your tasks. And then all I have to do is open up my tasks and say, okay, cool. I don't know why this one's in my bucket, but anyway, this one's here. I can open up my task. I review the task and I go, hey, cool, okay. I'm going to check the script on this. Maybe I'll watch the video. There'll be a link to the Google Drive folder in a custom field where I can go and review the content. If I've got some comments or feedback, I'll put them into the comments there. And if it's approved and ready to rock and roll, well, then I will put it into production here. Just move it into production, boom, that moves it into the production bucket. Now, the cool thing about that is it allows us to batch content. Now, I'm running a live stream right now. Once I'm done with the live stream, I'm going to go back to my production bucket and I'm going to go through and batch through all of the videos that are in my production bucket. We've got a whole team, writing and crafting ideas and reviewing ideas, and the tech team are reviewing ideas as well. All of those basically happen at different stages along here. I just have to manage my bucket, and that's a really easy way to work. So that's one of the things that we use Asana for, is Kanban boards. Very similar setup with our video production. So if you're doing like any kind of social media content production, you can use the same kind of flow for this. First up is the inbox. That's where content is being uploaded. Then we have production ready. Once it's ready to go, we've got multiple different editors where something can sit in production in an editor's bucket. Title, thumbnail finalization goes there, and these are big boards, so they take a while to load. And then you can see here it goes through a number of stages of review, It gets to my final review bucket. That's the only one that I'm responsible for. I give it the final review, and then once it's reviewed and approved, boom, we drop it into publishing. And what are some rules we have on publishing? All right, so it gets assigned to G, that's Georgia. If it's a certain channel, it gets assigned to someone else. And then the final task is adds an additional collaborator, Riley. There you go. Cool. So that's some basics in Asana. We may run a Asana masterclass at some point. If you're interested in that, let me know in the comments because we love Asana and we use it a lot internally. And yeah, we may do some additional live training for that. We do have some training in our academy, and we've done previous Asana in our boot camps. So if you're interested in getting access to those, you can sign up for Concierge. Head along to our website. If you don't know what Concierge is an all-you-can-eat IT support and consulting subscription, specifically designed around Google Workspace and other tech tools in the Google ecosystem. So you get all-you-can-eat access to our team for ad hoc support, phone support, if you want to jump on a meeting, if you want to do an engineering project, if you want to get your Zapier Zap set up and get one thing talking to another thing, if you want to roll out a CRM system, we're a partner with Copper CRM. We're a global partner with Hiver, which is a shared mailbox tool. Global partner with Asana. Global partner with Dialpad, which is a cloud-based phone system. And so we can make all these talk nicely to each other. And this is a really great suite of apps for small business owners. And you'll see Cloudflare in there. We give you a free domain name registration for your domain, free DNS management as well. So you've only got one number to call if there's ever an issue with DNS or websites or hosting or anything that you need done there. So if you haven't already, speak to our team, consider Concierge. That is an absolute must for small business owners. And we believe that it is the perfect accompaniment to Google Workspace if you're a business owner working in the cloud. Question here from, here we go. Ilian has asked, question is that if I can work? Oh, my real question is that if I can work. I don't know exactly what you're asking there. Maybe you can help clarify. Okay, Saber asks, is it possible to use dynamic groups to assign new Google user accounts added to distribution groups, calendar events, or maybe specific sub-organizational units? That would be great for onboarding new users. Great question. There are some limited dynamic groups available, but you may have to use a command line scripting tool to get access to them. I know in the old days there was the ability to say like all users. You could create one group called all users and it would just automatically add all users. But I don't know where that tick button has gone for that, and I don't know if that's available anymore. But what you might be interested in if you're a medium or large size organization and you want to get into like, really automating your onboarding and getting that nice and tidy, you might want to check out GAM for Google Workspace. So GAM is a command line management tool for Workspace, and you can certainly set probably some criteria there for creating groups. So if a user is created and the user has particular metadata on the user account, you could have them added to a group automatically. Now, once someone's added to a group, if that group has a calendar shared, boom, they get access to the calendar. If the group has a recurring meeting shared, they will get access to that recurring meeting automatically. If the group has a shared drive shared, they'll automatically get access to that. If you go to our channel and you search for the word onboarding, you'll see some onboarding videos about how we approach, systemizing and getting your onboarding more smoothly. And then I would also recommend, there's a big shared drive guide. Oh, I think it's group permissions actually. We've got a number of videos on setting up groups. There's a 30-minute one. Yeah, this one here, that guide is basically like a full tutorial on permissions, and there's a few different guides for specific permissions that you might use there. So I would recommend you check out those videos. You'll get an idea of our approach to onboarding and our approach to group-based permissions, where they can be used. I only use groups at the basic level. I'll be transparent there. There is a lot that you can do with groups that I have not yet taught on the channel because it's not yet in my personal wheelhouse. So if you have specific questions about groups, keep dropping them in, and we will help. Okay, I don't know if you can have a group tied or linked to a organizational unit, but you can use an organizational unit as a group now, just to confuse you. So organizational units can act like groups now in Workspace. Google around the help guide around groups and organizational units, and you should be able to see some options for that. Okay, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that username. I have 7 to 8 Gmail IDs, and it's difficult to check each ID each day. If I want all the Gmail in one ID, how can I do it? I would need a separate folder for each ID. I want to filter each email to go into the respective folder. This is a pretty straightforward process. However, there is no simple way to get multiple email addresses all sitting in one place. That's one thing that Apple Mail and Outlook have over Google, and that's the ability to have multiple mailboxes in one window and just to be able to flick through each one of those mailboxes at your whim, and also select a consolidated mailbox which has all of those together in one place. Now, unfortunately, that's not available in Google, so we've got to do the next best thing, and that is forwarding. So choosing one primary mailbox to be your go-to mailbox for all of your email. You would then forward each of your additional mailboxes to that main mailbox. So you have one mailbox in the middle where you get all your email. You're forwarding everything into that mailbox. Now, how do you know what email is coming from what mailbox and where to put them? Well, you may choose to set up a filter, or in Outlook world, it would be known as a rule. A filter can automatically move emails that arrive in your inbox to a specific label. Now, you might choose to leave them in the inbox and just tag them with the label as they come in. That's one option. The other option is to archive them on the way through, which effectively means you're moving them into a label, or it's acting as a folder in this case. You're moving them to a folder of email. So once you've set up those filters, the only thing that you have to handle is how do you send. Now, you want to register each one of those emails as a sending address in your account settings. You go to your account, you go to you go to your Gmail, you go to your settings, you go to your account settings, and then you choose send email as, and you need to set up each one of your additional email addresses there to be authorized to send, and then you're ready to rock and roll. You've got all your emails coming into one place. They're filtered into folders. Unfortunately, you don't have a consolidated inbox view, although you could use the all mail folder for that if you really needed to. And then sending email is handled by authorizing you to send on behalf of each one of those email addresses. And this works with a Google Workspace account or Gmail accounts. My strong recommendation is that you have as little email mailboxes as possible. And if you can bring them into one place, well, that's going to make things a lot easier for you. Okay, that's a great question. And that is our last question. We're going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much for joining. If you were on the live, if you're watching the repeat, drop me a hashtag repeat down below. Say hello. I do read every single comment. I can't reply to every single comment, but I do read them all. So please make sure you say hi if you're on the restream. Let me know what you want to see in the next one. Ask.itgenius.com. Ask.itgenius.com. And if you want a free consultation, get you and your tech stuff sorted, then go ahead, head along to itgenius.com. Click on the button for a free consultation, chat to our team, or if you want to you can just sign up to Concierge right now if you want. It's really easy. Sign up online. You'll get an onboarding session, all the same with our team, and they'll help you get started. If you have an emergency or something urgent you need fixed right now or tomorrow or next week, you need something done, just jump on that live chat with our team and say, hey guys, here's my problem. If they can solve it, they'll let you know. You can buy a quick fix there and then on the spot and get started with our team. All right. Adios, amigos. I will say goodbye. Take care. See you in the next one.